All right, y'all. So today I made some butterscotch chocolate chip cookies. Let me show you how I made them today. All right, so I used a half cup of butterscotch chips as well as a half a cup of chocolate chips and then a third cup of pecans. I used 1 1/3 cup of flour, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Then I added 1/2 cup of white sugar. Then I used a half teaspoon of baking powder and baking soda, and then 1/4 of cinnamon, y'all. It gives it that Christmassy feel, holiday feel. All right, so I started with some melted butter. That was 1 stick, which is a half a cup of butter. And then I started to add my brown sugar and just mixed it together. I decided to use a spatula. You can use whatever you want to use, but it's just easier this way. And just basically just mix it in. And you just want to make sure that it's combined together and mixed good. You don't really want any lumps of butter in it. That's why I melted the sugar. You're just basically creaming the butter and the sugar together. All right, so the next thing I went ahead on and added was the egg and the vanilla extract. And you just want to mix those ingredients in. You know, when you're making cookies, it really doesn't matter how you mix it. As long as you mix it well and everything gets combined. It's however you want to do it. Sometimes I will use a spoon. I try not to be too lazy to use a mixer or anything like that. But right, so I'm gonna start adding the flour to the mixture. And I added it was actually 1 1/4 cup of flour, y'all, not 1 1/3. I'm not sure if I said 1/3 or 1/4. It was 1 1/4 cup of flour. All right, so I'm just gonna add the rest of the flour to it. And then after I add the flour, I'm going to add the other ingredients, the baking soda, baking powder, and the cinnamon. All right, so I'm just gonna mix those items in and make sure everything is mixed in and combined well.